Welcome into another exciting edition of Sports Junkies here at RacingSportsZone.com. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer with Sports Radio 105.7 FM The Fan. He, of course, is Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. Time to do a little Pack-a-Talk as we go over this Packer football game from this previous week, the New England Patriots. I thought the Packers would get beat in that game. I really did. I thought Belichick's defense, which is very talented and very good, would maybe confuse and make things a little bit more difficult for Aaron Rodgers. They would be able to take away Jordy Nelson, which they, for the most part, were able to do. And I just thought a lot of pressure was going to come on other pieces. Devontae Adams stepped up. I mean, outside that one drop by the end zone, outside the one drop by the end zone, which everybody cringed at. Outside of that,
I thought that was going to cost them.
So did I.
I really thought that was going to be
between that and the Crosby missed field goal. I'm like, one of these we're going to go look back and go, oh my god. But you're able to overcome the missed field goal by Crosby. You're able to overcome the fact that you couldn't score in the red zone the whole game. You kept kicking field goals. So offensively, you did enough to win. But for me, Gary, it was about the Packer defense controlling Rob Gronkowski and controlling that running game.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. That was definitely the difference in the game. And going into the game, everybody talked about Gronkowski would just run all over the Packers.
Right.
And I was one of them. And I was absolutely shocked. I don't know how many balls were thrown his way. What do you think, about 6 times?
Yeah, well, he had 98 yards, so however many catches that was.
I probably had 6 catches, maybe 9 passes. Yeah. But anyways, I thought they would go to him a lot more because that was the one distinct advantage they have over the Packers. But I'll tell you what, I didn't watch the game, you know, as a coach would do. But what I did see was Clinton Dix did a great job on him. I mean, he was shadowing him the whole game, and I thought he did a tremendous job, especially for a rookie.
Right. You know, and there's a couple aspects of this. The Packers, if you didn't see, Bovada came out with their odds this week. Packers are the Super Bowl favorite at this point. The Patriots are second, then the Broncos are third, and then the Seahawks are fourth as far as Super Bowl favorites.
Nothing's really changed when you think, I mean, the fact the Packers are favorite, but those were 4 of the teams you expect
coming into the season.
Yeah, right.
But this Packers defense has gotten better and better ever since the bye week. They move Clay Matthews inside now on a more regular basis. Clinton Dix has some more experience. You know, beginning of the year against Seattle, he had no experience and was just kind of feel out how to play in the NFL. Much better player now than he was back then. This defense will be the reason they win the Super Bowl.
So you're predicting a Super Bowl for the Packers?
I think
if they get to the Super Bowl.
I think they'll be in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I was thinking that too. I mean, right now they are unequivocally the best team in the NFL.
We talked about
it's not even close.
Right. We talked about the big show because Gary Ellerson is my coach, former Packer Badger running back from back in the '80s, played under Forrest Gregg. He just keeps saying Seattle is going to be a problem because you haven't been able to beat them. Not an opinion stated thing by Gary. Right. He just says until you beat them, you can't count them out. You have to be able to.
You know what? I would normally agree with that assessment, except Percy Harvin isn't there anymore.
Correct. That's what I said.
Number one. And number 2, they have internal issues, which they never had last year.
Maybe Marshawn Lynch will retire before that.
I mean, between Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch, you got 2 major head cases.
And you have no weapons on offense at wide receiver or tight end.
Exactly. I think they are not remotely close to the team they were a year ago.
I totally agree with you. So defensively, they're still good. But offensively, I just don't think they can score enough points to keep up with this Packers offense. I don't. Not in a playoff scenario. And I don't care if they played in Seattle or in Green Bay. I still think the Packers are the better team. The one team that does concern me.
But let me guess. Let me write it down. And then, no, just go ahead.
Because I think they're going to the Super Bowl. Okay? But if you said,
Sparky, across the pond?
I said, if you said, Sparky, you got to pick one.
The team across the pond?
No. Detroit?
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. Dallas. The Cowboys would be the one team that would concern me. They have enough on offense to create fits for that defense.
They do, but they also got a bunch of they got so many knuckleheads on that team.
True, but you can run the football to DeMarco Murray. You have a tight end, 2 tight end threats for the Cowboys. You have a great wide receiver in Dez Bryant to go along with that. They present a lot of problems. Now, defensively, I think the Cowboys have played over their head all year.
I agree.
And that's going to continue to come down to earth, and that's probably what will cost them at the end. But that's the one team offensively that concerns me going against this Packers.
I'll tell you a team I would still be scary. I mean, on paper it looks like they're not the same team, but I would be very fearful of having to play them in the playoffs, and that's New Orleans.
The same.
As long as you got Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham and Colston, you got a chance to be in every game. And they showed that a couple weeks ago against the Packers.
Right.
They have no fear or respect for the
Ingram
Packers.
will not do that again against the Packers.
No, he won't.
There is no way that happens
he won't. But Breeze is such a good quarterback that, he's like the Brady in the Brady category.
This is the difference. Breeze is throwing more interceptions than I remember.
He has that. I agree.
That is the one thing. Every week you're going, oh, man, he threw another one. But he just can't stop himself
But
now.
he did pretty well against the Packers.
Sure he did.
So,
but the second time.
And the other team I still think is Detroit. Now, on paper, Detroit does not match up with Green Bay from a talent standpoint or a coaching standpoint. But they don't have any fear of the Packers either. And when you got a guy like Kelvin Johnson, they're loaded offensively.
Gary,
the key is Stafford.
They have, and he's liable to throw picks.
Right, exactly.
And the running back position isn't great. They're just not. They're
an emotional team.
There is no threat at running back. Say whatever you want about Joyce Bell. He's not a great player. Reggie Bush is a dynamic player. He can't stay healthy. He's had a horrible year.
Right.
So that is the one issue. Then Ebron, however you say his name, he's been hurt third in the year, so he hasn't been able to develop.
But he's coming. He's back.
He's back. I know, but he's still a rookie because he's missed so much time.
They offensively, I think, are one of the few teams in the NFL that can match up with the Packers. But Stafford's got to keep his head in the game.
Right.
If Stafford plays at a high level, I would not want to play the Lions.
We talk about the Seahawks being an issue for the Packers. Mm-hmm. The Packers have been that problem for the Atlanta Falcons, and that is their next game Monday night. And the Falcons can score points.
I agree.
They can score points.
I think this could be kind of one of those letdown games for the Packers. They were so jacked up for New England that, now all of a sudden they're in cruise control and they might be a little overconfident.
You know what I like to hear? We have Josh Sinnen on the Big Show Tuesdays at 4:35, the Packers offensive lineman, and he is by far the best quote in all of the Packer locker room.
Best offensive lineman.
And I asked him about how does it change this week having a Monday game, and he said, Big Mike, that's what he calls McCarthy. Yeah. Big Mike did us good this week. He goes, he actually gave us off Tuesday and Wednesday this week, 2 days off this week to let their bodies recover a little bit later in the season. I think this Packers team still beats the Falcons, but I agree with you. I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Yeah, and let's face it. I don't know what's happened with Atlanta, but on paper, they got some talent.
Mike Smith's probably going to get fired.
And he should.
And he should get another head coaching job because he did a pretty good job when he was there. They just couldn't get over the hump.
But again, they're like Detroit. You have a passing attack. If Matt Ryan, shows up, they can be awfully good.
Yep.
Julio Jones.
He is Gery Woelfel. I am Steve Sparky Fifer from 105.7 FM The Fan. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Sports Junkies, doing a little pack-a-talk here at RaceSeatSportsZone.com. Ta-ta.